us how to love.
Give me something to believe in.
They taught us how to live.
Can you take me high?
And now they're back.
That's right, we are back with another episode, and in this one, Ryan and I discuss 15 top hair metal ballads. Yes, our hair metal heroes did have a softer side, and when they showed it, sometimes it equaled big bucks. Check it out. All right, Ryan, welcome to the 80's Glam Metalcast. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, thanks, Mike.
Awesome, man. Awesome to have you here. We're going to have a good one. I can't believe it's taken this long to do something like this on the show, but it's going to be all about the Hair Metal Power Ballads.
Oh, long time coming.
You know, and if you wanted to be a platinum band, if you wanted to cross over with all the little heavy metal boys and girls, and you wanted them to buy your album, you had to have a power ballad. And it would be recommended that you release this single probably like second or third in your run of singles, right? Is that the way it would work?
That's the recipe.
Yeah,
man. I'm not afraid to admit it. I love a good ballad.
Yeah.
This is my list is pure sappy.
Mm-hmm.
I effectively neutered this list and altered it with just pure sap. So a lot of this though, I realized in listening to all these again, I was going, if you took out like the raspy Joe Elliott or the Steel Heart or all these male vocals out of the equation, like the massive male presence of the chorus, and replaced it with like a Rihanna or like Christina Aguilera or something, and like removed massive drums, it'd probably be like a number one pop song.
Yeah,
it's like
definitely.
So. I mean, it's crazy, but some of these were number ones, and some of these were the band's only number one. But I got Bon Scott rolling in his grave listening to his number one AC/DC supporter preaching a good ballad, but that's okay because they had the one ballad I shared with you.
Oh, yes, that was
Love Song from 1974 or 5, and God, was it terrible. Thank God they stopped that.
That was rough. And, I think with my list, what I've noticed is it's kind of like a mixed bag. I think I got some more of rare stuff, but then I've got a ton of the heavy hitters. And I think what happens, and you probably can attest to this, is that some of these songs, like, you've heard them so many times, and they're so overplayed, that, like, you want to take them off the list. But then you realize, like, if you try to go back to like when you first heard it, it's so good, and it was so important for the genre. So some of those ones were like, maybe I'm completely tired of them, but I've got them on the list because they are great. They were big hits for a reason. So yeah, it's a mixed bag on mine.
Yeah, totally. I got some kind of odd ones and some number ones in there. So it's cool. I think it's going to be an interesting list.
Awesome. Well, let's get right into it, man. Number 15.
Okay, number 15, I'm kicking it off with a band called Signal, Could This Be Love from 1989. And that is Mark Free from King Cobra and Unruly Child singing. So I feel like Mark Free and Eric Martin were like both put on this earth to sing ballads and like crank out your occasional hard rock song. But and actually Eric Martin is featured on this album in a different song as a duet during the chorus. So they were kind of made for each other. But this album is just AOR gold all the way, and he kind of leveled up with each new band from King Cobra to Signal to Unruly Child. But this is just like it's very soft 80s synth type AOR ballad. But it's just a great way to kick it off with some kind of AOR gold out there. But yeah, Signal, if nobody's heard of that, it's a really cool album.
Wow, I have not heard of Signal, but I've heard of Mark Free and Unruly Child and King Cobra. So, yeah, that's cool, man. Good. I'm gonna have to check that one out. But I always feel like that, that is one of your go-to ones, the Mark Free and the Unruly Child. So, well played.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's a great album altogether. So, highly suggested.
Well, I went for a little rare one myself from the same year, 1989. And my number 15 is Keel. Dreams Are Not Enough. Off the Larger Than Live album. Anytime I get a chance to talk about Larger Than Live, I'm going to talk about it. I love that album. It's half the first side is actually all studio stuff, and then the second side is all live stuff. So I thought the studio stuff was great. It just didn't do anything. There was really no promotion or anything for this album. But crazy enough, if you go online and you look up the video for Dreams Are Not Enough, there is a video. It never got played on MTV, but there was a video. And it is probably one of the worst videos that I've ever seen in my life. So I really encourage you to go check it out because it's really, really, really bad. I even bet Ron Keel would fess that this is a pretty bad video. But it's a great song. A lot of great piano. At this point, they had a keyboardist, and it was Scott Warren. So he was the guy kind of in the corner for Warren, like off-stage keyboard. Okay, I knew that. And then Dio and all that kind of, and Black Sabbath and all that kind of stuff. Okay, yeah, he got his start in Keel. So yeah, but it's a great tune. It's catchy. Should have been a hit, but this album didn't get any promotion. Keel's got a lot of cool ballads, but it is what it is. Keel just never kind of could pull it off with a big hit with a ballad. But this is a good one.
Yeah. I look forward to watching that video. It's a cool song.
All right. Number 14.
Tears in the night, I can still hear you cry.
All right, I got Valentine, Tears in the Night from 1990.
Ooh.
So, yeah, this is a real good one. This is the Hugo. Hugo is the single-named singer of this band. Mr. One Name Only, Mr. Should have replaced Steve Perry and Journey. Do you know these guys at all?
Yes, totally know Valentine. I sometimes get Valentine and Juliet mixed up, but yeah, no, I know Valentine, yes.
Yeah, dude, that's a great album too. But this is just this great debut, full of melodic rock jams, and this ballad really it stands out due to like the ripping guitar tones coming in and at like the perfect moments. There's a really cool chorus teaser and it kind of like a slide up the fretboard towards the end. It's very Invasion of Your Privacy-esque guitar tones. So that really stood out to me on this entire album, and especially this song. It really beefs it up a bit. Got a great voice, very classy metal, a la like House of Lords. And then this band changed their name a couple years later to Open Skies for some weird reason. But really cool band, really cool singer. He's got a lot of solo albums, and he looks like and sounds like exactly Steve Perry of Journey.
Wow. I'm going to have to check this one out again. I've definitely listened to the album of Valentine, but I just don't remember the power ballad, so I'm going to go back and check it out. And one thing
check it out.
I did not mention in the beginning, which I'm going to mention now, is that we have been cooking this list up for a couple weeks now, and there's so many songs that we're going to do a part 2. So I know that will probably excite a lot of people. So there will be a follow-up episode, so all right.
Oh, yeah. I had at least 30.
Yep, me too. Okay, number 14. You always have your moments where you want to mention Sammy Hagar or Mark Free or Kelly Hansen. Yeah. I always have my moment where I have to mention Mike Viscera, so I figure let's get it out of the way. Mike has done a lot of cool ballads between Loudness and Yngwie, but I'm going to go with the one that's on Soldier of Fortune, another album that gets mentioned all the time. And it's Lost Without Your Love. It's so good, man. It's so good. I love this song. It's there's a couple cool things that I want to mention about it. It's kind of like mystical sounding, I think. Like they do like some weird things with the guitar. It's kind of got like a cool, strange vibe. And the vocal melodies are just spot on, and the chorus harmonies are really high. Viscera's doing what he does best, singing in that high register. So wicked great song. Obviously, a big fail, never released, and that's what I think when I'm looking at like the bottom of my list, I'm going to say probably the bottom 4 were never released. Foolishly, bad move, record companies. You could have some big hits on your head, but this had potential. I don't know if it would have been huge, but it had some potential. But Loudness only got the one single on Soldier of Fortunes, and this one it. So that's all I got.
All right, that's a good one. I'm going to actually revisit it because I obviously love that.
13.
a band that I kicked myself for forgetting about during our 92 episode, so I gotta bring them up here. Masquerade, and the song is Sudden Love Affair. And this is a fantastic album from Sweden. There's 2 great ballads on the album. This one edged the other one, called All Night All Day, slightly, in my opinion. Really cool whispery vocals followed by some real kind of deep stuff after. Cool effects throughout the entire song. The pre-chorus is almost stronger than the actual chorus. It's like a few of these, I noticed a theme. You could almost have thrown in the towel after some of these really strong pre-choruses and called it the chorus, and then they kicked it up a notch. And this is one of those where, you know, they could have settled for the pre-chorus being the chorus, but they didn't. And I really love this album, and I would say that it's one of those 92 masterpieces that fell on deaf ears. But yeah, check it out, Sudden Love Affair.
Nice. Man, you're hitting me with some ones I have not heard, so I got some homework to do later. I'm going to go get a box of tissues and listen to all these. All right.
You got to listen to this whole album, though, just like Signal. The whole album might bring a tear to your eye because you never heard it before.
All right, 13. This is a late addition, just added today. Kind of forgot about it. And by listening to the most recent podcast that I just put out, this album's mentioned, and it's Vinnie Vincent, Invasion, All Systems Go.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to mention the ballad, man, Ecstasy. Such a great tune. It almost sounds like it could be a 70s type of a song. It's got a little bit of an oddball vibe to it. You know, it's definitely not Flight of the Angels or anything like that. It's a little bit of an odd tune, but it's cool, and it's just you know, it's a smooth tune. I think most of the Vinnie Vincent albums are mostly abrasive, the songs, but this one's a little bit more chill, more quiet, more laid back, and Mark Slaughter does a great job with it. So yeah, and I know a lot of people. I've seen a lot of internet chatter about Ecstasy. People like this song, so.
Well, yeah, I was going to go to Spotify and mark it as something I should listen to, but that's right. Vinny removed his songs off of Spotify.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
scumbag.
I forgot.
I know. Doesn't that hurt? You'll get that album where like, yeah, I want to check out some Vinnie Vincent, and you're like, I guess I'm going over to YouTube because it ain't on Spotify.
Not going to dig out my CDs.
Yeah. Just because he doesn't like All Systems Go, don't punish the rest of us. Come on.
I know, dude. Come on, man.
All right. Number 12.
Number 12, Mr. Big, Promise Her the Moon from 1993.
Forgotten, too good to be true. Before my world is torn apart, promise her the moon.
And this was a tough choice. Just like Mark Free, this man was made for a ballad. I kind of had 2 to choose from because I could really give a shit about To Be With You. I've heard that song.
Oof, that's an overplayed one. Overplayed.
Never really cared about it. But I did really like the song Just Take My Heart off of Lean Into It. But this one's off of Bump Ahead, I think. Bump Ahead, that album from 93. But this song is just amazing across all avenues. It's just moody and it's got feel. If this were like on a 91, like a Lean Into It, or even if they would have done something in 92, this probably would have been another number one. Like, that's how strong of a song this is. Songwriting gem, really, tons of emotion. You wouldn't want to listen to this if you were having trouble with your lady. It would just it'd be a lonely night. Just don't do it, man. Don't do it. So, I think Ann and Nancy Wilson from Heart did a version of this too, because it was just one of those songs that they, it just showed as like just amazing songwriting and pure talent. So it may have gone unnoticed to a lot of people just because of the year it came out, and the album wasn't huge, like Lean Into It. But I think it trumps To Be With You big time.
Nice. To Be With You, I don't know this song you're talking about because I'll have to go back and check it out. Never got into Mr. Big, but you know what I'll say? Like, To Be With You, you never would go after it, but like when you're walking around in a department store and it just like pops on, it's got a good vibe. It's got a groove.
Yeah. At this point, it's like, it's just like a Shook Me All Night Long, or live like You Gotta Love Bad Name or something like that. I'm like, okay, that's enough.
Yeah, I always feel like that tune just always creeps into like an easy listening department store type of a vibe.
Yes,
it just pops out every
exactly.
once in a while, and you're like, oh, Mr. Big, cool.
Yeah.
All right, number 12.
And you'll know me as the night grows colder. Don't worry, 'cause I'll be there for you. When your dreams seem far away.
Babylon AD, Desperate. And
nice.
This should have been a single. I believe they wanted it to be a single. I remember when I talked with Derek Davis, he was like, man, we got to do the ballad, and for some reason they never did it, and they did Kid Goes Wild for RoboCop.
Yeah.
But when RoboCop calls you, man, you gotta hit him.
You got to.
You gotta hit him with something
Thank you
hard.
for your cooperation. Good night.
I mean, you can't be doing ballads
yeah.
for RoboCop. But I think it's a great song. I love it because it has like that whole album has that real beefy choruses, and this song is the same way. It's got a really beefy, lots of voices. And he's just got a cool voice, and it's super catchy. And Desperate, great song.
It is a great song and a great album. And I remember seeing a poster years ago of Babylon AD and RoboCop, and I was like, "What is this?" And then I remembered that there was a song on that soundtrack. I was like, "Okay, that's right." But yeah, really cool album, good song.
Definitely. Number 11.
Bo Nasty, Paradise in the Sand from '89.
Well, it's not as good as Love Potion number 9, but it's good.
No, dude, this is cheese at its finest. It's the metal Kokomo. Great album. Stand out when I first got this album years ago, and he's just got that rasp that works really well throughout the whole album, and when he kicks it up a notch on the song, it really works. So, just like so many of these singers, they can kind of soften it up and then kick it up a notch, and they get that rasp back. But it's just a really good building ballad, kind of picks up the momentum as it goes, and it's got interesting lyrics, and it always kind of stood out to me. And the metal Kokomo.
Well, I love Bo Nasty, so that's a great choice, man. Great choice.
Nice.
All right, well, 11.
One to go, just another bullet in the chamber. Sometimes love's a loaded gun. Red lights, stop and go. What you gonna do?
I'm going with Alice Cooper. And, one rule I set for myself is that, let's keep it in the power ballad, the hair metal era, because if I open this up for some of the 70s Alice ballads, oh my God, I think I was looking at it, and I think half my list would have been Alice Cooper stuff. But luckily, I stuck to the 80s and the 90s, and I always love this song, and it's Love's a Loaded Gun, and it comes off Hey Stupid from 1991. And for me, like I think I've told you before, Trash for me, no, wasn't feeling it. Wasn't even really feeling the more metallic albums. I always really gravitated, once I heard his whole catalog, to the 70s Cooper. And Cooper is really a crooner. You know what I mean? There's a lot of these songs where, somebody, if they heard You and Me or How You Gonna See Me Now by Alice Cooper, they would have no idea it's the guy with the snake and with the makeup on his face. So, he can do a soft one right with the best of them. So I thought Love's a Loaded Gun kind of came back to that vibe, like that crooner vibe. But it's also got that real catchy Desmond Child thing going on. Like, it sounds like Cher could maybe sing this song in her late 80s days. You know what I mean? But it's a really great song. It's probably my favorite on Hey Stupid. But yeah, I love Love's a Loaded Gun. I don't think it charted, but it's a fun one. It's a good one. And it's just Alice kind of harkening back a little bit to his 70s style. So I dig it.
Nice, good choice. Yeah, you don't think of him as a softy, a ballady guy, but he can do it.
Oh yeah, he's got it, man. All right, number 10.
Number 10, probably a band that is making its debut mention on the podcast. It's D-Moles, D''MOLLS.
Yeah.
You know that band?
I do.
I can't stay, but I can't let go. I'm telling you, babe, I'm a high and low. I don't even know your name.
Yeah, D-Moles. The song's called High and Low, and it's from '88. And it's such a funny one. It's so catchy, though. I've always really gravitated towards this song. And it's like, D''Moles was like 40s, 80s glam. You know what I mean? Like, they have that Art Deco kind of like...
Yeah.
That really old look, and including the album cover. But like this album, I remember like Led Zeppelin doing this. You could kind of hear Robert Plant's voice in an echo prior to him singing it full voice, and they do the same thing on this song where there's this echo thing going on where the song starts with vocals out of time and then he kicks in. So it's kind of a cool feature, but he's got a great voice, really slow chugger. It's basically like a cappella at first for the first bit, and then it builds very cool, and it's got this awesome ripping guitar solo. And the rest of the album is obviously pretty killer too. And yeah, I've always really liked this band and this song especially. So kind of a weird name, but it works.
I got to go back and check that one out. I don't remember that song, so I will do my homework on that one.
Yeah.
All right, this is probably going to confuse a lot of people, infuriate a lot of people, but number 10, it's my only number 1 on the list, and this is where I'm going to put Poison, Every Rose Has Its Thorn. And I don't think it's because I dislike the song. I just think it's because I'm played out with this song, so it's not going to be one of my go-tos. But like we talked about when we started, there's certain tracks that pretty much define the genre, define the power ballad. And when you think about this, the G and the C chords going back and forth, how many people ripped this off after this song was done? You know what I mean? And the lyrics are actually pretty heartfelt. For an album with a lot of BS lyrics, this is probably the most serious song on the album. And it's catchy as hell. It's the turning point where metal guys became cowboys, right? and
yes.
And there's just that really great guitar solo by CC where the whole song's acoustic, but then he's got that, it's smooth but it's nasty solo that screams hair metal. So I know probably most people would put this at the top of their list. But I think because of the burnout of it, I don't have it there. But Every Rose is undeniable. I had to put it on there, and I'm just going to put it at 10 because of the just the overkill. But I can't deny it. It's a great song and a very important song for hair metal.
Yeah, man, I got a few on here that are obvious, and this one isn't one of them. I do like the song. It didn't make my list. Had there been an honorable mention, it would have made that. But I totally hear what you're saying, because when I initially got into Poison, obviously I was pretty damn obsessed with this song. So, but good on you to mention this number 1. And
really, it's one of those ones where when you were just kind of getting going, it's probably one you were able to sing because it's not very high. You know what I mean? So totally. This is where I tried to hone my Bret Michaels impersonations as a young man. Is right on this song.
Yeah, and I remember actually seeing Poison for the first time in '99 on that package tour, and I remember CC doing the solo of this thing, and I'm going, "Whoa, that's a real '80s guitar player doing a solo," and I was like so impressed, It just really stood out to me. Like, this is it. I'm seeing a true '80s band. This is great.
They are the epitome of an '80s band. They rock. All right, man.
That's it.
What do you got for number 9?
All right, number 9, I got Every Mother's Nightmare in Love Can Make You Blind from 1990.
I remember this one.
Yeah, so you can't go wrong with the whoa, whoa, whoas, When people start throwing out the oh-ohs and the whoa-whoas, there's a good recipe as well. But that's how this whole song starts. And it's kind of the outlier on this album, because this is like hard shit. This whole album, it was almost like a thrashy album. And I wasn't expecting this at all. sing the rest of the record is pretty hard. So I think the singer's name is Rick Rule. He has a pretty high Sebastian-y type voice, but it works really well for a ballad when he kind of slows it down. It's still nice and high. They had a minor hit with it here, and they definitely broke into the hair band league, whether they liked it or not, kind of like a Saigon Kick or Extreme, when they were kind of bummed that they fell into the category of hair band due to the fact that they had a big ballad. I feel like that happened to these guys because, like I said, if you're not familiar with the album, it's pretty hard, but it's good. It's like Racer X-y hard. So, really cool way to slow it down and very catchy. Like if they would have tailored the rest of their songs to be more catchy, poisony, Cinderella-y hairband, they probably would have had a little more success. But this garnered them a decent amount still.
Nice. And it was hard for these guys because they were real late to the party. So,
Yeah.
by the time they did their follow-up, the whole scene was dead. So, my number 9, and I know you're not huge into these guys. I'm not the biggest fan, but I do enjoy their music. But this is the song that's just undeniable, and it's Faster Pussycat, House of Pain. It's just, you want to talk about a deep topic and getting some pretty raw lyrics, man. Tammy Down is really talking about, his father leaving him, and it's pretty deep stuff, you know what I mean? For a genre that is pretty shallow, this song really doesn't fit lyrically with where most of the ballads or the regular tracks were at that time.
Yeah.
So a lot of balls coming out with a song like that, putting yourself out there like that. So, yeah, I really dig that song, and that's one that's really stood the test of time, where some of the other Faster Pussycat stuff, I don't go back to it, especially on this album, but, man, this song is great. I love it, and I love the message, and I really give him credit for being that raw with what he's talking about. So, yeah, just a great song. So, yeah, number 9.
It's definitely my favorite song on the album.
Yeah.
Definitely. And yeah, you're right. I'm not huge into these guys, but this song always stood out. Cool video, really cool song. I actually really, really do like this song.
And it went to number 28. So here, I'm going to start. I got to make sure I'm mentioning all the way up here, except for a little block of them, they never charted. But I got a nice run of charts right here. So this is 28, charted at 28.
Okay, cool.
All right, man. Number 8.
All right, this is where I got Winger, Miles Away,
Ooh.
from 1990. But how do you choose a Winger ballad?
They're
I
good.
mean, it was painful to do
They're
so.
good.
It was like I had to kick one of my children out of the bedroom. I was like, come on. I was like, which one am I going to choose? So the names were in a hat, and I just really had to pick one of them. But no, I really did. It was between this and Without the Night when it kind of boiled down to it. And I love both those songs, but anything with night or rain in the title is always killer, by the way. But that's different. But I believe this was a Paul Taylor song he brought in when they came back. Yeah, from In the Heart of the Young, and the guys all loved it a lot. And it's just got that really cool, mystical kind of song, and it's got the usual kind of like hot, tortured, sweaty, large fans blowing romance gone wrong Winger thing going on in the videos, like they all seem to do, which is cool. But it's really great how the song just like kicks right in, and you have that huge building giant chorus and great backups and cool drums, cool guitar solo. I just love this song, and it could have very well been my number 1, being Winger and being so talented. But I put it here. It's a pretty damn strong list, and like I said, tough to choose a Winger ballad.
Well, this song will be on my list. I'm going to just say that. And I'll throw a couple thoughts when I throw it on there. But one thing that just came to mind when you were talking about it is that at some point in my life cycle of having this CD, this song skipped. And it skipped right when they go, ma, 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 ma. So, right? So then somehow I must have corrected the skip. So then when I listen to it, it doesn't skip anymore. But in my head, I still hear ma 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 ma.
Dude, you are not alone there. I still have that, dude. Like, I can't remember which songs now, but I still have that where I'm like, that's what I remember most from the CD skipping. That's crazy. I haven't heard that in so long. But it's absolutely happened to me before. That's great.
I also had one with Kiss, Crazy Nights, and there's the last track's called Thief in the Night. It used to be like a thief. So, like I said, I don't think it does it anymore, but I still I'll never not hear that happening. So
exactly.
Just so weird.
I just call it the remix.
Yeah, it's like the Milli Vanilli. Remember when Milli Vanilli got busted when they were?
Oh yeah.
Now we're just waiting for this to happen to Crew. And Kiss and whoever else.
Oh, Jesus, I know.
All right. Oh, okay. So, I got to do my number 8. This is the first time and only time that Warrant will appear on my list. With Sometimes She Cries, number 20 on the charts. And, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. I mean, Janie's a great songwriter. Heaven probably deserves to be on here, but I just think that one is like the ultimate played out. That might even be more played out than Every Rose Has Its Thorn. So very played out with that song. And I think overall, if you dissect the chorus of that one, it is kind of cheesy. Like Heaven isn't too far away, closer to it every day. Kind of, it's a little bit lazy writing, at least in the chorus part of it. But Sometimes She Cries just feels a little bit more deeper, sophisticated. It's got that great guitar work from Mike Slammer. And you almost wonder, with some of these ballads or any of these tracks, would they even be as good without those tasty leads? You know what I mean? Like for this song, it starts off with the damn lead. You know what I mean? So the lead is very important to this song. But Janie's voice is great, and the songs that he writes are great. Probably it was a big song. It went to number 20, but it probably even should have been bigger than that. But just Warrant our ballad masters. I'm sure maybe you have some, or maybe when we do another episode, some more of them will creep out. But yeah, Sometimes She Cries, man. That's a jam.
Yeah, and this is one of those songs that, like you said, the intro is a solo, and if you think about how he's jamming, he's basically altering the verse vocals when he's playing Sometimes She Cries, and he's playing it on guitar, but he's kind of bending it. But you hear what Janie's singing in the guitar solo intro, and it's so cool when bands do that. And there are several out there that you could pick up on. Europe's famous for it as well. But no Warrant made this list. Which in creating this list, I was going, dude, I know, man. Like I was going, okay, which Warrant song am I going to put on? And I'm like, this is my boy. Like, this is Janie. Like, he's the ultimate songwriter. Like, and I don't know, dude. I thought about I Saw Red, and I thought about this. Yeah. And I don't know. I left it off. I don't know what's wrong with me. Too many other good ones.
It's all good. It's all good. What do you got next?
Number 7, I got House of Lords, Remember My Name from 1990.
This is starting to be one of your other staples now. See, like these guys are always creeping up on lists now, man. You're becoming a House of Lords nut.
Yeah, well, I've always been a House of Lords guy. But this is just this is another chance to talk about Sahara. This album, it's just like I said, it's like an 11 out of 10. Like I love their debut, but this album just blows it out of the water. And this is like classy hard rock, kind of like Valentine. Yep. We talked about the puffy shirts once upon a time. The ritzy videos and the backgrounds, and this is the classic story of someone lonely in the night, randomly meeting, etc., etc. But huge guitar riffs mid-verse as well as the chorus. And it's another song that has a couple parts that are worthy of being a chorus in itself. And they finally get to the Remember My Name part of it, which is kind of winding down, to be honest. But I just love this entire album, and James Christian has one of those voices like Johnny Gioli or Janie Lane that I can never escape when they're just perfect, in my opinion. So, anytime I can talk about House of Lords at this point, I'm gonna.
I understand, man. It's all good. It's like me with Mike Vocera. It's always going to come up. Manowar. It's Kiss. It's my standards. All right.
Exactly.
Number 7, and this is where I put Winger, Miles Away. And without you pretty much covered it. I won't say anything more. The only point I want to make. First, let's say this was a pretty high charting song, number 12. Which is pretty crazy. So So that did pretty well. You nailed it with the Winger ballads. I also was looking at Without the Night and some of the other ones. So yeah, they got great ballads. But one thing, and I want to ask you about this and see if you can relate to this. I think, as a kid, it's one thing. You haven't lived a lot of life, but I think as you get older, you live a lot of life, man, and you lose people in different ways. And sometimes, like, when you hear these lyrics, they kind of hit you in a different way. You know what I mean? So when I hear this song, it definitely makes me feel a lot of different kinds of things as I'm older. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, that's why, not to get all serious or emotional. Hey, this is an emotional episode. But, I do feel like some of these songs, like, they hit you different when you're older. You know what I mean? So it doesn't necessarily mean a relationship like like that kind of stuff. It could be like losing a parent or something like that. You know what I mean? The words that they're saying sometimes hit you different based on your life experiences. So I'll just throw that point out there. I don't know if everybody else feels that way when they hear certain songs now, especially that as you've lived more. When you were a kid, you didn't really have a lot of life experience, but as you've lived, some of these songs take on different meanings. So yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. And that's how cool this whole genre is, because when we listen to the songs we've heard for 30 years that we still listen to, you pick up on new little things. And this is one of those great points where you start to actually listen to what they're saying, and it may be applicable in your life at the moment.
Yep.
And it wasn't when you were 16 and you heard the song for the first time.
Yep.
But to credit Winger as well, and the entire band and Kip, in doing a little bit more research and trying to figure out which Winger song I was going to put, I actually, to tip the scale and get Miles Away on here as opposed to Without the Night, I watched a live video of him, the band, doing Miles Away, and they just absolutely killed it. And I was like, okay, this is the one. This is perfect. Winger is they're just such amazing musicians. They did such a great job, and they definitely won me over with their live version of this.
And what else is cool that you mentioned, and you were right, that Paul Taylor wrote this. Another cool thing is to think of, like, if nobody told you that, you wouldn't even know. It just shows you how in tune these guys, or how in tune he was with Kip and Reb, because they write the majority of the songs, but he wrote a song that you never would have known wasn't written by the other guys. So good call on him. I wish he would have had a chance to put more of his songs on the albums, because his songs kick ass. So
totally, exactly.
All right, number 6.
Number 6, I got Von Groove. The song is called Love Keeps Bringing Me Home from 92. And another 92 classic here. But this is just a great Canadian band. This song has a great intro, acoustic intro. The verse build up into a kind of a low pre-chorus and then this giant higher chorus. And it really kicks in post-solo, and it's pretty amazing how he comes back into the chorus post solo. It's probably the highlight of the song. And, a lot of these ballads kind of follow the same kind of recipe, but this song has always really stood out to me, and the album is great. Just like a lot of these, that the entire album's great, and I can't believe it, but the ballad, there's a reason why it was released as a single, and this is a perfect example of this. This is just a standout, amazing song. I don't care that it's a ballad, it rules. And highly suggest Von Groove if people don't know that band. They had their debut in 92, so probably fell through the cracks. But they consistently released albums throughout the 90s and 2000s, and they're all pretty damn good.
Totally missed Von Groove. Like, I heard of them, and it seems like recently on Twitter somebody was posting about Von Groove, but it was. And I think I might have went on Spotify and just scanned it quick. But yeah, I totally missed Von Groove, and I don't know if there's any going back to Von Groove in my life. I don't know. I'll try again.
I give it a shot. They kind of fall into that confused era of, like, they're not grungy, but they're a little bit like 90s hair band, like. So, you know what I mean? Like the touches on the video and the touches on their clothing and headbands and hairstyle is just a little 90s. You know what I mean? Like, at least Harem Scarum was pretty freaking 80s looking still. Von Groove, but they sound great. They're a great album. Definitely check it out.
All right, number 6. This is where I got Kiss Forever, and I'll try to explain why I put this lower. People probably would think I would have put it higher. There's a lot of great things I want to say about it. Well, first, number 1, it went to 8 on the charts. It's one of the highest charting Kiss songs ever. I think Beth and maybe I Was Made for Loving You beat it, but this is still pretty good. And this, I was shocked because out of my list, the only thing that's higher is Every Rose Has Its Thorn. So Kiss, man, swinging for the fences. It has some sentimental value. My wife and I always say this is our song. You know what I mean? So I think the message of this song is great, and I'm glad that we can, have that as our song. I think as years go on, though, the only thing that holds me back is sometimes I feel like maybe this song's a little contrived. You know what I mean? Like it's Kiss saying, "Oh, we got to put one of these power ballads on our album," and it's been written with Michael Bolton. And I just saw and I did no research on this prior. So if whatever I'm going to say is wrong, whatever, I apologize. But I saw something that said, like, Paul Stanley was basically saying that Michael Bolton had a minimal role in this song, and then when the song became big, then Michael Bolton came out and it said that he had more of a role in writing it than he did. I don't know if that's true or not. That sounds like something Paul Stanley would say to try to discredit Michael Bolton. So that could be what it is. I don't know. Another cool memory with this song, it reminds me of the Hot in the Shade tour. I saw that tour. That was the first time I ever saw Kiss. And when they played this song, there was like all these green lasers flying around the place, and everybody had their cigarette lighters going.
Every time we do this one, the place lights up just like a damn Christmas tree.
That was still a thing back then. So just a cool memory there. And, Paul's voice is great. The Eric Carr's drums are great. And the guitar solo is acoustic. So that was one thing that you never really got much. Most of the times, 9 times out of 10, the band would do the solo on an electric. But this is all done on acoustic, and it just gives it a little bit of a cool, different kind of a vibe. But yeah, man, Kiss Forever. It's a great one, and it's a big hit for the boys.
I wonder if they tried it on electric first, and then they, like, the story behind it, and they're like, let's mess around with an acoustic solo and see how it went. I wonder if, because sometimes people have like the electric version on another disc. You know what I mean? Yep. I wonder if there's ever going to be one of those.
All right, number 5.
Number 5, a band I've been dying to feature called Blue Tears. The song is called Halfway to Heaven from 1990, and this is the perfect pop metal album. This ballad is the most breathy synth masterpiece I have on the list, probably. The chorus is just insane. The album has such charisma. If you haven't heard it, or heard of them, it's Bon Jovi mixed with Shout, the Ken Tamplin Shout, and that band BB Steel that I mentioned, that's like a Def Leppard clone, as well as Big Bad Wolf, that Craig Chiquiko from Starship's hair band. But it's just times 10 amazing album in this. It's so sappy. This ballad is so freaking sappy, but it's great. I fall for it every time. But check it out, Blue Tears. I don't think they're on Spotify. They have this album, and I don't think they have any other featured studio albums, but they have a bunch of like demo albums out there. Definitely check them out.
Yeah, I think I remember you mentioned these guys on past episodes, so yeah, I'll definitely check it out. All right, no, I think I've got all some of my big boys, my faves here to ride it out for the last 5.
Mine are coming too.
Number 5 is going to be Stryper, and they've got a lot of ballads, and most people are probably thinking of a few that are the big ones, like Honestly and I Believe in You, but this ain't it. I'm going with First Love off of Soldiers Under Command. I remember mentioning this one to Michael Sweet when I talked to him, and I don't know if he really elaborated much on what I asked, but I at least maybe it was just a comment that I made, but I thought it was pretty mature songwriting for these guys at 1985. I mean, geez, they probably were in their early 20s still at this point. So it's a well written song. It's got a lot of emotion, and obviously their lyrics are religious. You know what I mean? And the cool thing, if you listen to the story, at least the way I interpret it, is that like a woman put her faith in a man, right? And that man, basically, she did everything she was supposed to do, but still the relationship didn't work out. The guy treated her like crap or whatever. But there's one person that's going to always be on her side and not going to treat her badly, and that's God. You know what I mean? So it was a pretty cool concept, because when you think about it, you think they might be singing a love song about like the first time you fell in love, but your first love is really Jesus Christ. That's what they're saying. So it's pretty cool. Like it's well written, it's catchy, it's deep. So like I said, but these young guys writing something like this, I mean, I give them a lot of props. So yeah, you go back and check out that tune, man. That's a good one. To me, just the depth of it and the creativity, I think, just smokes. Honestly, in my opinion. So yeah, I don't think this charted. Cool. I think it was released, but at that point, they in '85 they hadn't broken through yet. So
yeah, it's cool when you choose something that's not the go-to ballad or not the go-to hit, and we're like, no, we're going to dig a little deeper and go with something else that we find more attractive for some reason, and this seems to be one of those songs. So that's cool. You have good reasons for it too.
All right, number 4.
Danger, danger, afraid of love.
Danger, danger.
I got a 2-for-1. This is from Cockroach, so you got 2 versions of it. And they're both really cool. I will say, and I've said this before, I prefer the Paul Lane Cockroach. I would never say that about a self-titled or Screw It, because Ted Poley rips the shit out of those albums. But I do like Paul Lane. Did I say Paul Taylor?
No, you said Paul Lane.
Okay, cool. He's on my mind.
Paul Stanley, guy. Paul Lane.
Whatever.
Not a Paul.
Paul Lane on the Cockroach album, I think he really makes it. And this song's really strong. I left all my like could be mid tempos off for potentially the round 2 of this. There's
going to be a round 2.
But this could be there, kinda. But it's got love in the title, so it makes it sappy.
Yeah.
But it's just great pre-chorus and huge chorus, and you notice the theme yet? Great chorus, great pre-chorus, the whole thing. But it's they follow that recipe, man, and God, it works so well on this song. This has been one of the standouts on this album my entire time I've liked it. So yeah, great thing.
The crazy thing is about Danger Danger is they are a band that tends to go kind of softer, not super heavy. They never released a ballad, or never had a hit with a ballad on the first album, which just shocks me.
I know. Agreed. Yeah, I was stoked that they did the 2 they did, because it showed that they were more into that side of the kind of the harder pop metal stuff, but they probably would have had some major success with the ballad at that point. But it's all right.
Yeah. Okay. Number 4, a band I talk about all the time. They got so many cool ballads. I was wrestling with which one that I was going to pick. But I'm going TNT, and I'm going End of the Line, and off of Intuition, 1989. Mm-hmm. And this is just so good. It's a piano ballad that has the power when it comes to the chorus. Huge ass voices. I think this album they're really channeling Queen a lot and really trying to make that big chorus. But I don't know. It's just that whole album. I've said it a million times. It's just got a weird, kind of strange, interesting, cool vibe that none of their albums sound like. And I think Joe Lynn Turner's helping out on the backups on this album. So yeah,
cool.
It's just it's very dramatic. Let me just say that it's very over the top. It's very dramatic, but it's very good. And it's TNT, End of the Line.
They were like Bon Jovi huge in their native land when this thing came out, right?
Yeah, this probably was number one in Norway, but never.
It probably was.
States.
Yeah.
I don't think it was ever. I think they only did 2 videos in America off this album. It was Tonight I'm Falling and Intuition. So I think End of the Line never had a shot. But there is a cool video if you look it up online. They play End of the Line on some like Swedish or Norwegian. If that I'm sorry, I don't know the proper terminology, but they're on some kind of music award show and they play this, like they lip sync to it or whatever. And it's just it just looks cool. It's really cool. So yeah,
awesome.
Check that out if
cool.
if you're a TNT weirdo like me. So
I fit the category. That's totally me. Yeah,
right.
It ain't weird, man. We're cool.
Oh, it's all good. All right, number 3.
All right. Well, I'm going with the humongoid here. Huge one. Motley, Home Sweet Home.
Woohoo!
1985, the original ballad.
The original.
So, coolest video, savior of theater of pain. The crew was at its peak in the 80s here. Just that, like, you know what I mean? Not the peak like everybody like we think, like the best album or whatever, even though it was killer. Like, they were just peaking popularity wise and becoming one with 80s hard rock, and it's just got a little bit of everything. And I'm not a huge piano in metal guy, but this just works so great, and the huge drums and the huge solo, and it really shows off Vince's voice. And at the end of at the end of the video, each member is seen leaving the stage, and Vince is under the spotlight, and it's like the slow-mo turnaround, and he turns and he smiles, and I swear, I think that's his peak happiness in life. You remember that part? Like, he his shoulders kind of sink, and he kind of turns and he smiles, and he just looks so freaking happy, and it's the ballad that started it all, I think, for the whole 80s scene. So just what a great video and a great song, and I never turn it off.
No, I'm with you. I'm gonna just reveal it's coming. So I'm just gonna it's coming. It's coming on my list.
I like it.
So, but it's not yet. So number 3, I feel like this band, another one, always comes up, but this song is undeniable.
Nobody knows when there's clouds in the skies, when there are tears in your
And it's Lillian Axe. Nobody Knows off the debut album. It's been said many times that this is a filthy shame that this song was never released. But, it never gets old. I think Ron Taylor's voice always suits a ballad really well because he just has an amazing voice that can do a lot of cool things. And I think the lyrics are kind of like they're simple, but they say it all. Nobody knows when you're down and out. You know what I mean? And it's definitely one of those, like, you're kind of bummed out songs. You know what I mean? But it works, and they channel that. And it should have been a single. It's a great song. One of the coolest hair metal ballads from the genre. But it's just like the title. Nobody knows it really. So nobody knows. So
That's funny.
All
hey,
right.
I know it, and I love it.
All right, man. Number 2.
Got a big guy here. Def Leppard, Love Bites, 1987.
Oh yeah, you gotta have Leopard, man. They're your band. They're ballad masters. You gotta have them.
I know. This was a number 1, so this is the only one I did right there. The chart number down because it was number 1.
Number 1.
But I mean, you got Joe Elliott, you got the moody ballad, you got the moody vocals. This is the one song I think they're quoted to say it's the band's parents' favorite song. It made them all cry. It's just a great song. And this is the one time they publicly told Mutt Lange that he was an idiot for doing what he wanted them to do on this vocals, and it's the I don't want to touch you too much, baby. That part, and in between there's a nice big space, and then making love to you. That part.
Yeah.
Well, in between there, Mutt Lange wanted them to like put all kinds of words in between that space.
Oh, that would have been terrible.
And they all looked at him and said, no way, man, that's a terrible idea. Like, this is the Paul Stanley recipe of arena rock. You leave space so the crowd can sing with you, you know? Mm-hmm. And so that was the funny part of this song, because I believe it was a Mutt song when he brought it to the band when they finally got him back. And they turned him down on that aspect of it, but thank God they didn't turn him down on the rest. But, you know, you get, like, Elliot's just soaring vocal performance on this song, and it's really cool to watch it live and acoustic now, because they have such strong background vocals too with Phil and everyone. But yeah, they spent way too long on this album, and there's tons of parts that we won't bore the people with, because I'm sure they know the story. But timing wise, this was just a perfect album, a perfect time that it came out in late '87, and it was cool that they listened to Mutt, and they listened to when he came back in and basically re-recorded everything they'd started doing in like '84 and made this '87 masterpiece. And that's why it almost made my number one, but my number one's just too killer to pass up.
Well, yeah, you can't deny the Hysteria album when it comes to the power ballads, of course. No denying it.
Of course.
All right, number 2 is where I put Crew, Home Sweet Home, and you know,
all right.
You know, it's a lot of thoughts coming to mind. You know, when you were talking about it, and you really did nail it. That it was the song that really kind of broke these kind of songs. I tried to think of if I could think of any song that was like this before this, and I want to say "Alone Again" by Dokken. Maybe, you know, historically or the year it came out, maybe the first power ballad for the hair bands. Right. I don't know. I mean, that could be disputed, but I know that was out the year before this album. But anyways, this they don't know what they were doing. Motley Crue know what they were doing. This had all the recipes. You know what I mean? The piano, the catchiness, the great guitar, the video. You know, like you said, the live video with the tour clips and everything. And then, you know, and they had their the most glammiest look at this point. And I don't think that, you know, I mean, this was it. You know, I mean, this really catapulted the genre. You know, this was just, it changed it all. You know what I mean? Motley Crue, I was watching something with them talking about it. They said this was it, man. We invented the power ballad, and we're the ones that took it to market, and they really did. You know, just a lot of good memories. This first album I ever bought was Theater of Pain by the Crue. Well, wait a minute. Let me rephrase that. The first Crue album I ever bought was Theater of Pain. I don't know if that was the first album I ever bought in my life, but that's the first Crue album I ever had. And that song just, you know, hit home. No pun intended. Right away, I enjoyed it. I remember doing it in an air band as a kid. You know what I mean? And just those were just good times. It's great music, great stuff, and but Motley Crue's got a lot of cool ballads. You know, there's none that can compete with this in my book. But when I was going through the list that we made, Motley Crue was coming up a couple different times. But Home Sweet Home is totally it's peak. It's peak Crue, peak power ballad. The thing that broke it all open. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, we can sit there and air guitar solos and you know every little idiosyncrasy of these songs. But I gotta say, this is the one song that I've also memorized the video. I've seen it so damn many times. Like I can pretty much play it in my head right now, and it's perfect. Everything about this song and this video is perfect, and I'm glad they still obviously play it live, and the crowd really responds to it.
Oh yeah. Oh, this is it. I can't wait, man. Number 1.
All right, here's where I got Steelheart, Angel Eyes from 1990. 1990. So this is the end-all, be-all of male vocal range for me, and it's just the epitome of the killer music video. I kind of touched upon it a while back. We were talking about the desert rock videos with Wild Child and Rock the Night and this. It's
Rock the Night is not in a desert. Cherokee.
It's a mountain.
No, Cherokee.
Cherokee. That's what I meant. Sorry,
Rock the Night. They're singing. They're in a restaurant and they're singing at ketchup bottles.
God, how can I be so mistaken with my Europe trivia? What an idiot. How can I mistake a ketchup bottle for a killer backdrop?
And the funny thing is I edited that out of the last video when you said that because that was wrong. But now I'm going to correct you right on the spot.
Yeah, leave it in. Show my. God damn it. Anyway, this is. I've made 2 mistakes in my life, and this is the same thing. Anyway, anyway, so I got this Monsters of Rock compilation back in like mid '90s, and it had like Vixen and Firehouse and Trickster, and it had this song, and I was hooked, dude. I was like, holy shit! Like, what is this alien singing this high note that I've never heard a male vocalist hit in my life? This is crazy. So then I went on this major Steelheart bender for a lot of years, but this song never gets old. It's got the acoustic thing, the electric guitar thing, the huge drums, the insane, will he ever stop climbing the scale ladder thing going on, and I could watch the video as much as Home Sweet Home, and I can hear the back bend. You remember the end of the video when he hits the highest note of all time, and he's basically like at like a 90-degree angle, and he's doing this back bend. It's just like, dude, that is so killer, and I just never get sick of it. It was, when we talked about it, it jumped out at me. I've always preached this as my favorite ballad of all time, and totally wanted to keep it that way because I don't think there's any rivals, in my opinion.
No, I remember when this album and this song got huge, and it was definitely kind of like a surprise hit because, as a hair band, they were good, but they didn't stand out really beyond anybody else. But when that song came out, that was the thing. But with that vocal performance and everything that went on with it, it really kind of rose above the pack. And something comes to mind, and if this is wrong, I'll just edit it out. But I almost feel like they changed the title of the song or put part of it in a parentheses at some point. And I don't remember to like maybe be more of what he's saying in the song. I don't know. I'm going to look that up after. But that's just a thought that came to my mind because I remember. Like, what was it originally called? Was it originally called just "I'll Never Let You Go," or was it called "Angel Eyes" and then they put something in parentheses or something? I just remember there being a change, like on the video on the screen.
So or something. When I totally effed up the '91 number one and I put Steelheart because I was so excited, even though I always knew it was '90. Yeah. I was like, okay, maybe it was '91. They re-released it with that altered album cover. Because they first had like a kind of industrial scene with the Steelheart logo. Yeah. And then they re-released it in '91 when this song took off. Okay. And I believe you're accurate in the Angel Eyes, I'll Never Let You Go. I can't remember what's in parentheses, maybe the first part. Okay. On the re-released '91 alternate album cover release. So I believe that's when that occurred.
Oh, see, that's weird. Well, I'm just, like I said tonight, I'm just getting all these crazy thoughts in my head, and like that's one of them. Like I remember there being something different. So yes. So I guess I'm right. Wow, that's it happens once in a while.
Dude, your Steelheart trivia is on point.
Okay, and I definitely had the industrial one. I had the original one, the industrial scene with the logo on the front. I had that one.
You don't have multiple like I do?
Dude, there's so many people like on Twitter or something like, I got 3 of this. I'm like, no, I got 1 that's all trashed and skips, so I can't listen to it anymore, so I got to listen to it on Spotify.
Oh, God, I'm so guilty of that. I'm that guy. No, the Japanese version, I got the alternate logo version, the singles. I don't know what's wrong with me.
That's all good, man. I don't blame you. All right, number 1. Oh, I never mentioned that. Let's just throw this in there. It doesn't matter that it's here now. But let's go back to Home Sweet Home for 1 second, because this is probably the most well-played move ever that we did not mention. So when this thing was released in 85, it went to 39. Now these characters release it again, right, in 91. And it goes to 37. So this thing went top 40 twice. So
that's pretty cool. I never knew that. Yeah. I like that video.
Isn't that wild?
That's pretty cool. I like that. That's the Home Sweet Home 91, all black and white. That's a cool video. I actually totally forgot about that video.
You know what I like about it? I actually like the mix and everything better because there's this one part where they put a harmony on Vince's voice that's not in the original, and it just sounds so cool. And once you hear the harmony, you always want to hear that. So that I definitely thought that was super cool. But all right, we're way off topic. All right, so okay.
No, exactly. Hey, dude, trust me, I'm like the original "Living Without You" with Stevie James and Tiger Tails, then
the one with
the one with Kim Hooker. they have that additional part of the chorus, and it's so minimal, but it totally wins me over. And I'm like, Kim Hooker version all day. And it's just like one little additional part of the chorus, and that's what I go to. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying.
Okay, so we've got my number 1. It went to number 13 on the charts. They return on my list. They're the only band that's on my list twice. Poison, I Won't Forget You. And this is, Poison are just, I think they're the ballad masters, man. You know what I mean? They've really got some good ones, and they're big hits. You know what I mean? Going 13 on your debut album is no small feat. But I don't know. It's just a great song. It's got that kind of sad vibe. But they, a lot of them kind of have that, And also one of those ones where as you get older and like I said, you lose people in life and the song takes on different meanings, you know what I mean? So I can listen to it in different with different ears. But it's just a great song. Bret Michaels really knew how to write a song back in the day. And I'm not trying to take a swing at him, but I haven't heard any songs like these from him in a long, long time. So he was a great songwriter. And this one also has a really cool solo by CeCe. You know what I mean? And it just fits perfectly. And it's kind of melancholy, but it has that 80's hair metal vibe. But yeah, it's a great song. Poison do a great job with the ballads. And this is a great list, man.
Damn, I didn't expect that. I expected another winger out of you, and not this one. Like, I truly fell in love with my Bret Michaels obsession when I saw how killer he was in the Nothing But a Good Time video. But then when I saw him at the Texas Jam live portion of the I Won't Forget You video, and he's got those like bright blue pants on, and he basically like humping the air, and I was like, that guy is a rock star. Like, that guy's the skinny blonde killer rock star. And that's the standout part of this video for me. And when you talked about CeCe having a killer solo, I love that in 2022 and 3, CeCe has risen to the guitar hero status finally, because he was always shit upon as being like a crappy guitar player, which is very false. And he's proving everybody wrong right now with how he's playing live on the stadium tour.
Yep.
And I love that, and it goes to show on this song what a talented guitar player he really is.
You mentioned the videos too. This one definitely took a couple tips from the Home Sweet Home video. It's the live video with the behind the scenes clips. A couple cool things happened, like Paul Stanley's up on stage with them for like a brief second. That's right, yeah. Yeah, and then they're like doing weird shit at a hotel, like they shove like somebody on a luggage rack thing, you know what I mean, into the pool and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a luggage cart, I think it is. I think it's Bobby Doll or something. But yeah, just cool, them being goofy on tour, all sad, talking on the phone to the girlfriends, it's spraying people at the Texas Jam with water. It's just a cool video. It encapsulates the 80s and this whole scene. But yeah, great stuff.
Dude, awesome. How crazy is it that we only had, I think, 2 songs that matched? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we had Miles Away and Home Sweet Home. Like, just goes to show how many ballads there are out there that speak to people. And I bet you anything, the next list will maybe have 2 or 3 more.
Yep.
But I'm just, dude, it's crazy. There's so many out there. And like the ones you mentioned, I was like, oh damn, that's right. TNT had the killer ones. Lillian had killer ones. All the shit. And gosh, dude, I tried my best not to forget, and here I am.
And I'm gonna not do any of my own honorable mentions because I want to save them, because I think we got a whole other one in the tank here. But my wife texted me, she's like, you have to give an honorable mention to Skid Row's I Remember You. So I've done it. I'm not a big fan of it, but my wife likes it, so I'm going to mention it.
Yeah, I'll be right. I'll jump on board with you, because it's on my honorable mentions, and it was not going to make my next list. But I don't know why. It's probably just that weird bias I have towards Sebastian at this point, because at that point, if it was 90 or whatever, I'd be like, oh, number 1, I Remember You. It's fucking killer, But now he's just such a what he is, I'm just kind of like, meh, screw Sebastian.
Yeah, he's a character, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, haven't seen him in the headlines lately, so he must be kind of staying quiet a little bit, because there was that little moment where he was, picking fights with everybody, but it seems to have calmed down a bit. So.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, buddy, this was a good one. Looking forward to doing the next one.
Totally. Well, thank you. It was awesome.
Have a good night, bud.
All right, take care.
Yep, bye.
I hope you enjoyed this one. Make sure you remember.
Every bad boy has his soft side.